Good everyone, on this video today we have the ARB plane special tasks that we're going to be talking about for today. So as you may remember, we did this for the dailies, but I've not really had time to sit down and, shall we say, cover this in detail because I've just not really had the time. Like, I've had time to obviously sit down and do like one video a day every so often to obviously keep the channel going and all that, but at least now I can go, yeah, I've got time to actually do this. So how this works is the exact same as the daily task. So if you're new to the channel, I'll briefly explain. In the description below, there's going to be a few timestamps. Well, I say a few, it's going to be quite a few. So if you're struggling with a specific task, you can skip ahead to do that. Now, of course, I will be talking in detail, so don't just look at my notes on the right-hand side of your screen and assume that is everything. I will be going into a bit more detail about it, so this video is normally going to be longer than usual. So sit back, relax, prepare for the ride, and let's get cracking. So the way this works, of course, is I'm going to be talking about each individual task, describing if they've got an easier or harder with the little keys up there, as you can see in the top left. The asterisk means the task got harder, and the plus sign means the task got easier. In this case, we actually have one that is both harder and easier, so we're going to discuss that once we get to it. Without further ado, let's get in and start with Eagle's Eye. Make required number of critical hits. 30 critical hits. So I've listed a few aircraft that are pretty good for crits right now. We have the P-47D-28, the BF-109G6, Yak-3, A6M5 High. There's a lot more that can go on this list, I'll be honest. One thing that isn't on there is you can actually farm bots for this. So the bots that you see flying around the map, they do count for crits. Just make sure to get some crits on them. And if you're quick, you might get all 6. So there you go. That's a 5th-year test done if you're lucky. Nothing really to write home about. This is just one of those that you go, yeah, I can do this over time whilst doing other things and working on Battle Pass challenges. So there isn't really anything that I go, yeah, this is difficult. It's very easy to do this. Like I say, just aim for critical areas like wings, engines, and things like that, and you'll generally have this done within 5 or 6 games if you're lucky. Sometimes it might take a little longer, like maybe 10 or so games, but like I said, if you're doing something else, like a Battle Pass challenge, you should be golden for this. Next is Higher Than the Sky. Play a battle, take a required place in the team, 4 games, and you have to come place 1 to 2. This can be quite difficult when you're solo. So I'd recommend using the same aircraft I listed above, bar the A6M5 High, because obviously the performance of that thing isn't the best. Focus on air kills and ground targets. Bots also help towards this. Use bombs if you have to get extra points. This is pretty much just bomb rush, get as much as you can, stay in the top 2. Don't be one of those dickheads that team kills people who are close to taking your score. Just work hard and just do your best. That's the important part. But I would really advise, if you're an inexperienced player, I would recommend changing this task. Because trust me, this is difficult and won't be easy. Next, we have Big Game. Destroy enemy bases. 20 bases. This used to be 15. As for the other 2, it used to be, I think, 25 critical hits. And it was only 3 games for place 1 to 2. So this is definitely something where we have to go, this takes the piss. There's no doubt about it. I'm still doing one of these from like last night. And I'm only at 13 out of 20 bases, and I've been using all sorts of different aircraft to do it in. So don't be afraid to drop a bomb on a friendly's base. Like I say, as long as you're not stealing a base, people tend to not mind. Like I said, just use whatever suits you, to be honest. Like, as long as you can kill a base with your bomber that you choose, you should be fine. If you've got a spare bomb left, drop it on another base and just get extra. Because trust me, if you're averaging 2 bases a game, that's 10 games to do it. And in some cases, you might be able to get a bit more. So, hopefully, it's going to be one where you go, yeah, I can get this done within about 10 games. So, just like I said, just do what you can, play whatever you like. I use my A1H for this because I can average 3 bases with that thing. As long as I don't get bothered, that is. But still, it's one of those things where you can just do it in whatever you like, as long as you can kill at least one base a game. Next, we have Unbreakable Wing. Get the best squad streak required number of times. The best squad, 3 games. So this is one where you're going to have to look in the description again, because there's going to be a link to my Discord server. Now, unfortunately, because we're not classed as a community, the links will only last for 30 days. So, because Discord has a new thing, that's really the best way I can summarize it. So, if you are stuck with this one, join our Discord and we'll help you out. Essentially, all you have to do is stay near your squad mates and get kills and assist with them, and that will get you best squad points. This is something where you need to stay within about 2 to 3 kilometers of your team or your squad mates. And all I'll say is do not rely on auto squad people for it. We're a very open community, so feel free to jump in and we'll help you out and everything. But like I said, it doesn't really matter what you use as long as you just stay with at least 2 others. Because if your squad mate gets shot down, you can't do this task. As far as I know, you also have to win this challenge, but still, it's one of those where I'd recommend just joining a community for it and just giving it a go that way. Next, we have Worthy Play, which both got harder and easier. The Unbreakable Wing used to be 4 games. Used to be 2,500 points for just 2 games, but now they've upped it to 3. So it has changed quite a bit, this one. Personally, I use attack aircraft for this because you can both kill planes and you can kill ground targets, and in some cases you can even kill bases, depending on the ground attacker you choose. Like I say, I use my A1H for this. But all I'll say is things like the IL-2s, the SU-6s, ME-410B6R3, generally anything that can multi-roll, a bit like an SB2C4 as well, that's a good option. They tend to be pretty solid choices because you've got the firepower, you've got the maneuverability, you've got the survivability, you've got the bomb load, and you've got the firepower to level most things in front of you. So, generally speaking, that's what I tend to look for when it comes to choosing an aircraft for Worthy Play. Obviously, with it being win condition, you do need something that can multi-roll. With it being 2,000 points, you do need to get some player kills. You will most likely have to go after bots as well. So do take this into consideration when choosing an aircraft for this. That's all I'm going to say. Next, we have Interception, which has been dropped from 10 kills to 8 kills, where we have to destroy some enemy bombers. I actually got, it is a little fun fact whilst I'm here. I actually got reported by many bomber players because I had this special and I did it in the T-18 B-57. Take that information with what you will because they don't like getting yeeted by a 57mm. So the T-18 B-57 would be on this list, but I forgot to write it down. Pretty much just take anything that can shred a bomber. So SB2C 4/5, the 5 is in the French tree. P61C1, Tier 152H, the Brigand. Anything with high climb rate and good guns will pretty much butcher a bomber these days, especially with some of the changes. Just don't take the Kar-96. They have nerfed that thing into the ground. But other than most of those planes on that list being pretty strong anyway, you'll have this done within a couple of games, and trust me, you'll get mass reported for it by bomber players. I shot down 3 bombers, I shot down 3 P-8s in my T-18, and I got mass reported by those 3 T-18, the P-8 players, because I shot down their precious pixel bomber, so do that with what you will. Then we have Mass Destruction. Destroy ground and waterborne targets using a bomber. This used to be 80 targets, they dropped it to 70. Trust me, it does make a big difference when you play the bomber. So things like the SB2C4, B-18/T-18, B-57, PE-2359, because it's the fastest Peshka and it's the best Russian bomber for this. That isn't a premium, that is. And there's loads of other choices as well. So like I said, it's pretty much exactly the same as you might think. Just bomb ground targets. If you can find the map, which is Battle for the Rhine with the railway carriages, bomb rush those, you'll get like 28 or so, 32 nearly. And trust me, that saves a lot of time. Just make sure you drop big bombs on that lot because people will be bomb rushing for that. So, like I said, just take whatever suits you, as long as it's rank 3, of course, because you must have rank 3 for a special task. And just overall, just pick something that can handle itself sometimes. Like, all of those bombers I've picked there, bar the PE2, because that thing's a tinderbox, can pretty much handle themselves. So, make sure to consider that. Next, we have Pull the Trigger. Win required number of battles, getting the multi-strike X2 streak in each of them. So you have to get you have to get 2 wins, and you have to get, in total and you have to get the multi-strike X2. So that means you have to kill 2 planes within a certain time frame. I think it's 30 seconds. And personally, I would recommend skipping this because you have to get into a furball for this, and not all games are going to have a furball. And getting this on bots doesn't count because it must be on player vehicles. So if you want to go for it, take a Zero or a Spitfire, just get stuck in. That's literally all I can say. But otherwise, and yes, this did get slightly easier because it used to be 3 victories. I'd recommend just getting stuck into the furball, and that's literally it. But if you're having games where you just can't do this, just skip it. Next, we have the best in the air. Play required number of battles where any districts from the list have been received. Hero of the Sky, Thunderer, Tsunami, Survivor, Mission Maker, Punisher, Wingman. 5 games. It's got a little easier because I think you only had 6 on the last one. So now you only have to do 5. And remember, you don't have to win this because it specifies play, not win. I would focus on Thunder. It's probably the easiest one to do this lot. Tsunami is very rare because you don't tend to get many matches where there are naval targets to go for. There is one map, which is Malta, but people tend to know where the fireboats are, so they'll just bum rush with you. And if they've got a better plane for the job, they'll tend to do it quicker than you. I would personally just use a squad of at least one other person to cover you, and use an aircraft like an Su-6 with the 37mm. So that's my personal suggestion. And I do think that's probably one of the safer options is the Su-6. But if you are struggling, I would recommend one of the Swedish bombers like the T-18s. Or if you're really, really struggling, just like I said, just go for an Su-6, go for an IL-2 at a lower BR, things like that, really. Next, we have one of my favourites, Botfly. When required number of battles, destroy one enemy vehicle by at least 1 battle rating higher than yours in every battle. So it doesn't really matter how you do it, as long as you get 2 wins and at least kill 1 aircraft that is a higher BR than you. The way I like to do this is squad it with someone and up tier them by at least 1.0 to 1.3 BR higher. I do it in a Yak 3 because I'm quite comfortable in the Yak and I can pretty much reverse most people in it. I even took a Yak 3 to 6.7 and got myself a 262 kill, which was very satisfying because he was not happy about that. But like I said, it's all about just choosing an aircraft that is comfortable for you, is a vehicle that can handle an up tier, and is just something where you can have a buddy to back you up if need be. Pretty simple, really. Just make sure you choose something that could also be versatile. Yak 3 isn't the most best choice for that, because obviously, excuse me, it doesn't have access to bombs or rockets, and its guns can only take out certain ground targets, so just bear that in mind. Next, we have War Eagle. Play battle destroying required number of enemy aircraft, 3 kills in 4 games. And pretty much just consistent guns and getting kills is key. Performance is nice here, so that's why I've picked a few higher performance aircraft. But I've also picked something that has forgiving guns, like the A6M5 High, the J21A1. Obviously, the J21 does have a ripping problem, so bear that into account, so to speak. Consistent guns and getting kills is key. This is pretty much all it is. You just need 3 player kills. They are not classed for bots, because trust me, I've tried. It doesn't work. I shot down 5 bots in a HS-129, the Italian one, well, the Romanian one, I should say, the premium, that's still rank 3, and bots don't count, so don't try that. Like I said, just pick something that's got good consistency, good guns, and can get into the battle. You should be fine with this. But like I say, if you're an inexperienced player and you're struggling, there are consistent aircraft with guns, but they do trade performance for that in the form of the A6M5 High and the J21. Next, we have Clear Sky. Win required number of battles with 50% or more activity, 15 victories. All I'll say is avoid German teams because they tend to be flooded against 288s. And if you really want to do this, you fight the Germans with their fancy 288s. All you've got to do is pick something US around that BR. So my personal favourite is, of course, my A1H, because as long as I don't get bothered by the very few German fighters that are on that team, and some wannabe tryhards in a 288, I tend to get this done pretty dang easily, and I can bleed the tickets, and if I'm doing a daily that involves 4 bases, heck, I can get it done in one game if I want to. So, like I said, just pick something that's versatile, can deal with 288s, and can farm tickets quite well. You should have this in the bag, no problem. Next is at the forefront. Get the Mission Maker streak, which you do have to win this, by the way. This does require you to get First Strike and Final Blow, so unless you've got something that can really get going, I'd recommend skipping this. The best aircraft I've had this success in is the Wyvern, but of course that is a premium. The only other aircraft I consider is something like a B-18 because it's fast. Maybe a German Dornier 217 because again they're fast. But otherwise, this isn't really a task I would give to a new player. So if you have got this and you're quite new to the game, don't bother. Just skip it and go on to another different task. Next, we have Crowd of Laurel. Win a battle, taking required place in a team, place 1 to 3 for victories. And as I've literally just said about the Clear Sky Challenge, this is exactly the same. Play it around USA 5.0 to 6.0. Piece 47 D28 is a perfect choice here. Lots of ammo, you get 3,000 rounds. Versatile because it carries 2,500 pounds of bombs and also 10 rockets. So have fun is all I'll say. And if you really are struggling for a bomb load on that thing because it's stock, you can unlock 250 pounders now on it. So you can at least get some bombing done to some extent and still get this done with little issue. But of course, you do have to place 1 to 3 and you do have to win. That's why I picked this aircraft for this main choice, because it's very good for that. Next is Winged Ally. Help ally players to destroy the enemies, 8 assists. Bots do count for this. Crit bots with weaker guns and focus on enemy players too. A6Ms are great for this, and yes they are, as long as you don't have the 5 high, that is. The early Zeros tend to use a lot of 7.7 machine guns, and critting a bot is quite simple, and then all you do is just get your squad mate to just bully the bot after. As we like to call it, you wing it, they ding it. You ding it, and they wing it, so pretty much you damage it, they kill it. Very simple. And I even helped Harry get 5 assists in one game because of this. So it's very simple to do and should be pretty easy for most people to do, really. Next, we have the turning engagement, which is destroy enemy fighters, 26 kills. All I'm going to say is just play normally. Like, I'm not joking. Seriously, just play normally. You'll have this done in no time. Like, it might take a few games, but as long as you're just killing at least 2 fighters a game, maybe 3, this shouldn't take too long. And like I say, if you're doing something already, like if you're doing a daily or a battle pass challenge, just leave this running in the background and you will notice it's done when you realize it. And it shouldn't take too long, and like I say, most battle pass challenges take a few hours anyway, so just make sure to consider that when obviously doing that. Next we have On and On. Destroy player vehicles using a fighter, 30 kills. And all I'll say is most of the aircraft mentioned earlier, such as the P-47 D-28 and the PF-19 G6, is perfect for this. All you have to do is just kill anything that isn't nailed down as a fighter and you'll get this. Bombers, strike aircraft, fighters, just do it. This won't take long at all, just play it in the background. That's pretty much all I can say for this one. Next is Meteor Shower. Destroy ground and waterborne targets using a strike aircraft. Now, I think the Mosquito has actually gone down to rank 2, so this might be one where I have to change this. But otherwise, SU-6AM-42, ME-410B6R3, 8284, AM-1 as well. And if you have it, the A1H, and if you also have it, the Wyvern, are very easy for this and will not take long at all. And honestly, this is so simple to do. If you struggle with this, just pick any one of those lot I've just suggested there. I'm just going to scroll down for the last few, because we only have 3 left to do. Aerial Superiority is next, with play required number of battles where any of the streaks from the list have been received. Hero of the Sky, Thunderer, Tsunami, Survivor, Mission Maker, Punisher, Wingman, Terror of the Sky, Anti-Mech, Bulletproof Bouncer, and On Hand. I think that's the last time I have to hold my breath and then say that lot. Other than the tanks, but that's different. All I'd say is focus on Anti-Mech or Thunderer and just use the attackers I listed above. Pretty simple. Again, you don't need to win these, so just bear that in mind. You don't need to go out of your way to help the team. as long as you're doing your job, you're taking out ground targets, and you're just helping the team's tickets situation, you'll have this done in no time. Next is Pursuit. Destroy enemy strike aircraft. 8 kills. Now, I'm going to use a Marvel reference here, so I hope some of you at least get it. You use strike aircraft to destroy strike aircraft. Much easier to do. IL-2s, SU-6s, etc. This is pretty simple, and if you don't get the Marvel reference in this, it's when Thanos infamously says, I use the stones to destroy the stones, because, yeah, we have the power to do so. So all I'll say is use a strike aircraft to destroy strike aircraft, and you should have this done in no time. If you are struggling, just fight the US at around 5-0 to 6-0 using Germany. You won't win any games, to be honest, unless you're lucky. But you will find a lot of strike aircraft like A1Hs, AM1s, etc., and you'll just farm them quite easily, as long as you don't turn fight them in a 1-9. And finally, we have win required number of battles with activists with needed activity percent, 85% or more activity. And pretty much, if you play in a squad, same as Clear Sky, and the 5.060 range, and you don't play Germany, you'll have this done pretty easily, is all I'll say. Like, there really isn't anything I can suggest. Like, obviously, we've discussed earlier on with the Clear Sky, the playing against 288s, because there will pretty much always be 288s on their team. Most of the time it's 4. And we don't care if they're taking 200 tickets at a base. Whoop-de-doo, we could do that in a single gun pass on ground targets. And obviously, they're going to be just using their bot programs and shit just to mind their own business. So you could just comfortably leave the 288s to it, and you'll have no problems at all, is all I'll say. But that's it for today on the played special tasks. I will get around to doing the tanks one at some point. But I really hope that helps you. If you do want to obviously join the Discord server, please do so, I should say, in the description below. If the link has expired, let me know in the comments below, and I will obviously update the link and obviously give you a fresh link. So make sure to do that and everything. But I hope you enjoyed learning a few things, and hopefully these advices and things like that just give you a bit of an extra edge on doing these tasks. And obviously next up will be the tanks for this, because obviously the tank ones do take a bit more of a challenge, and trust me, we're going to need to go into detail about that. Anyway, we'll leave you all to it for today, and I hope to see you all on the next one.